Good morning. Hi, my name is Josiah Hostetler, and I'll be serving here on the facing bench this morning. Hello to everyone on Zoom joining us. Good to see your faces. As we begin our time in meeting for worship, if you could please turn your cell phones to airplane mode or mute, that will help us in our worship time. We will first sing our song in worship in Song 197, How Firm a Foundation. for a centering thought, I actually brought a hymn. I'm not going to sing it, but it's one of my favorites from the Brethren and Mennonite hymnal that I grew up with. And this is my grandmother's psalm book from when she was an organist in church. The song is titled Beyond a Dying Sun, and it's by Steve Engel. And it was written in 1969 through 70. Beyond a dying sun, I saw a vision on the sea of golden sails full billowed on the wind. And echoing above the waves, a voice called after me, God's dwelling place is with you till the end. Though hatred rages on the wind and wars defile the land, I see those golden sails still coming strong. For through the eyes of faith still shines the vision of the Lamb, and o'er a weary earth there rings this song. I see a new world coming, where everyone is free, and all shall be God's people in justice, love, and peace. Now is a time for announcements for the meeting. We'll start with anyone on Zoom. If you could please unmute yourself and bring your announcements. All right, we'll move on to the meeting house. I'll start with an announcement that we have the ability to support the work of our meeting through monetary donations at the plates in back of the meeting house, as well as online, as well as our work, serving on a committee, or through donations of service and food. Are there any other announcements?
Hi, Jeff Gabbard. As a member of the Department of Quaker Efficiency, or DOQ, I have realized that the Zoom link that has been sent out the last couple of weeks with the bulletin has not been working right, or in technical terms, it went all snap-fooey. I have figured it out this morning and had confirmation from Mike Mott. So starting next week, the Zoom folks, hopefully the link will work correctly every time. But a reminder, everything is recorded. And so if you aren't able to make one of the sessions, you can always go to our Facebook page or YouTube channel to watch the chat room stuff or meeting for worship. So there you go.
Joanne Gulley. I have two announcements. The first one, we have book club today at the RISEM meeting. So any of the ladies that would like to join us for book club, we'd love to have you. Second thing, as co-clerk of outreach, just a reminder that school is coming to an end, which means that lots of kids who normally receive free breakfast and free lunch will not have those meals available to them. So when you're at the grocery store, if you can keep that in mind, because it is a real difficulty for families that depend upon that to feed their kids 2 meals a day during the school year. So thank you.
Am I on? Yes, I am. Just a real quick mention. Yesterday at the spring hike, which was wonderful, by the way, that would be a joy. There were 2 sets of binoculars, really nice binoculars left behind. I have them in my car, so if they are yours, let me know, and I will get them back to you. That's all. Thanks.
Hi, this is Cindy Striedelmeyer, and I know most of you are away from Indianapolis proper, but if you happen to be there and you are interested in the issue of evictions, which are pretty high in Indianapolis. There's going to be a presentation May 15th in the evening at Trinity Episcopal Church by Judge Kimberly Bacon. She is one of the small claims court judges, and in her township there has been a program for trying to mediate between tenants and landlords to eliminate as many evictions as they can and keep the effects down, because that has such a pile-on effect for people. It's going to be preceded by a dinner, free of charge, and there will be panelists who also will talk about their involvement in trying to prevent evictions. If you want to know more about it, talk to me after meeting, and I can get you a link to that, more information. Thanks.
Good morning. To follow on that, thank you. I was recently, past week, doing some work in a courthouse, and it was the Tippecanoe County Courthouse, but I verified the following information. There is a kiosk in every courthouse in which people can receive free legal help. This one happened to be next to the mechanical room door under the stairwell. So persevere, ask for help, and you should be able to, and anyone else that you come across that, you know, yes, evictions and whatnot. Yes, thank you.
This is, I thought somebody was already talking. It's Paula Cardozo-Jones. Speaking of evictions, people can get those evictions sealed under certain circumstances. So it won't show up on their records, and this helps them a lot when they're applying for a new apartment. I volunteer with Indiana Legal Services. We have eviction sealing not seminars, just sessions where people can come and get help. But if you know of anybody who has evictions that possibly can be sealed and help them with getting new housing, look up ILS and see where the next eviction sealing clinic is.
As you know, last Saturday was Arbor Day, and we went to Echo Hollow. Yeah, thanks. Anyway, we had the best time, and I was bound and determined I was going to get a dogweed. Or not a dogwood, a dogwood, okay? And they had face painting for kids, and they had animals for kids, and there was this owl that was like this big. It was huge, it was beautiful. And kids were petting the owl, and they had rabbits, and they had a baby porcupine and a snake. We stayed away from that. And, but anyway, my dogwood start that I wanted so badly is smaller than a drinking straw. So I just put it in a bottle of water and hope for the best. But it's free, and the trails have been paved, so it's not like it used to be. We used to take our dogs down there, and it was muddy and dirty, and then we'd have to come home and wash the dogs. Now it's got gravel paths, and it's easy, moderate, and hard. And it's just so much fun, and it's so nice, and you hear the birds, and hey, we saw a loon. So, yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. A loon? A loon. Mm-hmm. So it was really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Is there one more announcement?
This is Lynn Adams, and I'm going to give you all an opportunity to be involved in a very easy project. We need welcomers to come and to welcome people as they come in. My husband probably gave a bulletin to you this morning. It's very simple. I'm in charge of it this month, but I'm also working with the sound. So if some of you would sign up, that would be very good. There is a sheet on the back of this that tells what you need to do. One of the things is be a friendly face, and you're all friendly faces. So if anybody would like to sign up for this, we need, one person is not enough. We need a couple of people out there, and to welcome everybody, and that's an easy, very easy thing to do. So I will put this back out there now, and you may sign up. Anybody can do this if you have a smile on your face, which everybody does.
Yeah, that's fun. Thank you, Lynn. I will share one more announcement from the Peace and Social Justice Committee. Since this is the first Sunday of the month, we are sharing our moment for diversity, equity, and inclusion. So Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said that all forms of inequality, of all the forms of inequality, injustice in health is the most shocking and inhumane. According to the Journal of Nursing Research, the pursuit of health equity entails dedicated efforts towards achieving the utmost level of health and well-being for every individual, while paying particular attention to those who are most vulnerable to experiencing poor health due to their social situations. Faith-based organizations have a long history of advancing health equity. Jesus taught us well that every person is worthy of health and healing despite what others may consider the wrong time, place, social standing, or method of that healing. We have a plain directive from Christ to stand up for programs that advance health equity, including CHIP, Medicare, Medicaid, public health offices, Ryan White, VA, and CDC programs, as well as to the contributors to the determinants of health, including SNAP, Social Security, TANF, disability, unemployment, Head Start, and public education. In our rapidly changing society, achieving the beloved community starts with our vigilance. I think Mark's going to lead us in prayer.
You know that today is Star Wars Sunday. May the 4th be with you. Yeah, that's the appropriate response is, and also with you. So let's try that. May the 4th be with you. There you go. Let us pray. Hello to you, Creator of my life. I say hello to recognize you here with me now and with all of these people. I say thank you because the whole deal is beyond me. Hello. Help me to say hello to the concerns, the hurts, and the plans that have been spoken and dreamed of here. Hello to the pains, the injustice, the outright cruelty of our times. Make me compassionate to pain and not bitter because of it. Recognize my need for hope in these desperate days. Hello to the rising sun. hello to you today and every day. If this is your prayer too, you could say amen. Amen.
Well, it is nice to be back at Fairfield. Last weekend, we were in San Antonio watching our son graduate from college. Joanne had come down 4 days early to babysit our grandson Miles so Sam and Kelsey could pack for their move to Fort Campbell, where Sam will be completing his. I stayed back here to help with Madeline and watch the dog. Flew down Thursday morning on Southwest Airlines via Houston. Because I'm a simple Quaker, I didn't pay extra to first. One of the last one on the in a middle seat in between two people who were as different as night and day. The man in the aisle seat moaned and groaned the entire way. He was unaware that Southwest doesn't serve meals on domestic flights, and in anticipation of a meal, hadn't eaten breakfast. The poor, long-suffering flight attendant kept giving him packets of pretzels, which did not improve his mood. The more she did for him, the more he complained. Pretzels, he demanded. No thank yous, no words of appreciation, just and groaning all the way from Indianapolis to Houston. And after a while, the flight attendant just... The lady in the window seat was the exact opposite. I think she might have been a Quaker, but then I tend to think everyone I admire must be a Quaker. She just gave off that vibe. She was gracious and generous. She had brought some snacks on the plane and shared them with the aisle seat man, and he said not a word of thanks. He just acted as if it were his due. Of course she should give him her snacks. I wrote her. And so we chatted. She was going to see her grandchildren, and I kept thinking how fortunate her grandchildren were to have a grandma like that. I hope they realize that. I think they do. I know Miles and Madeline are aware they hit the jackpot. So we were talking about our grandkids. And then she asked me what I did. And I love it when I'm on an airplane, chatting with someone who doesn't know me and will never see me again. It gives me the opportunity to reinvent myself. I don't have to be a writer or a pastor. I can be anything I want to be. An architect, I love that one. A brain surgeon, a rocket scientist. But this lady was so nice, I didn't want to lie to her. That guy in the aisle seat, I would have told whoppers to him all day long. But I didn't want to lie to the window seat lady because she was so nice. Now, I've always liked farmers. It's hard not to like a farmer. It's such a noble profession, feeding people, tending the earth, hardworking. So I told her I owned a farm, which is true. And if by that she assumed I was a farmer, well, then how could I help that? Plus, it was only a 2-hour flight, so I thought I knew enough about farming to sustain the charade for 2 hours. She said, "A farmer? That's wonderful. My husband and I are farmers." Which was the last thing I wanted to hear, since I know nothing about farming. She said, "What do you grow?" What do I grow? What do I grow? What do I grow? I immediately started thinking of everything you see in the produce aisle at Kroger's, and I told her mostly bananas and coconuts, sometimes pineapples. I think she figured out pretty quickly that I didn't make my living as a farmer, but even then she was so gracious. She said, "Coconuts." I said, "Yeah, the money in coconuts is in making the little coconut heads that you can sell. I have one here that you can sell to tourist shops in Florida. There's lots of money in that from Midwest farmers who grow coconuts." I said, "You ought to look into it when you get home, talk with your husband, and if you want, I'll send you some coconut seeds so you can do this." But there I was on the airplane, seated between ingratitude and gratitude, which is often where I find myself these days. One moment ungrateful and moaning and groaning, the next moment grateful and generous and sharing. Now, I'm doing my best to lean toward gratitude, but it is a challenge, isn't it? It is a challenge. The German philosopher Immanuel Kant, we're going from coconuts to Kant, that's a pretty good leap, said this about ingratitude. Ingratitude, he said, is the essence of vileness. Ingratitude is the essence of vileness. Kant believed that the failure to be grateful for the benefits and blessings we receive discourages people from doing good in the future. I noticed that with the flight attendant. The more ungrateful the aisle seat man was, the less enthusiastic she seemed to be about helping him. And I certainly don't blame her. Who wants to do something nice for someone who is ungrateful and arrogant? Not me. I'll just keep them from me. We know that's true, and we know we're inclined to do that, because when we have done something kind to someone and they respond with ingratitude, we are not as likely to help them again. Thus, ingratitude is the essence of vileness. Kant believed that ingratitude was a failure to fulfill our moral duty, because it shows disrespect for the person who has done a good deed. If ingratitude becomes common, it discourages people from committing acts of kindness, ultimately harming society. So here's what I've been thinking about this week. Amid our current struggles, I've been thinking all along that our divide was a political divide. The Republicans pitted against the Democrats, which is wonderfully convenient. since it puts people like me on the good side. But it is a false distinction because it implies Republicans are all bad and Democrats are all good, which simply is not true. It is, though, tidy and therefore tempting, but it isn't true. Our divide, what really separates us, is between those who are ungrateful and those who are grateful. Ungrateful people, in my experience, not just with others, but with myself, that when I am ungrateful or when I see that quality in others, I notice they tend to be narcissistic, thinking only of themselves and what they deserve, thinking only of what life owes them, and when they don't get what they believe is their due, they look for someone to blame, someone who is getting what is rightfully theirs, whether it is attention or resources or admiration. When we are ungrateful, and I say we because we are all susceptible to ingratitude, when we are ungrateful, we become acutely sensitive to perceived indignities and slights. So look for someone to blame. It's a vicious circle because the more ungrateful we are, the less likely others are to extend kindness to us. So our anger and self-absorption grow and build. But when we're grateful, when we acknowledge the blessings and benefits we receive, we further the moral contract by which we all benefit. If ingratitude is the essence of all vileness, gratitude is the heart of all goodness, for it encourages others to continue their acts of charity and generosity. So be grateful, friends, be grateful. Look for every opportunity in your life to say thank you, to say I appreciate you. When we do that, we all become farmers, reaping a harvest of benevolence and well-being.
About 20-some years ago, I had to have major surgery. And I was single at the time, and I lived right across the street from my mother, and she insisted that I stay with her, and so I did. And day 2 after I had had this big surgery, my mom's like, well, we gotta get up, we gotta walk, no pulmonary embolisms, no blood clots. Did you do your breathing thing? And I'm like, yeah. And so she said, well, we'll just run some errands and then we'll go have lunch. And I said, okay. So she did all the driving, and we get to this restaurant, and she let me off, and I went to go open the door. And I took both hands trying to pull that door open, and I couldn't do it. Now, at that time in my life, I was lifting weights and running, and I was in good shape. And I'm pulling and pulling on this door, and it got open about that much. And so I was frustrated, and so these two older ladies walked right past me and just kind of stood there, and I said, I'm trying to get the door open. And they just stood there and gave me the stink eye. And so this young man comes up from behind me, and my mom's right behind him, and he says, here, let me get it for you. The two older ladies said nothing, like they were entitled. And it, really upset me. And so I said to the man, thank you so much. I've just had surgery, and, I just couldn't get the door. And he said, well, thank you for thanking me. I felt so bad.
If all hearts and minds are clear, if you could please join for worship in song 324, How Could Anyone? Please stand in body or spirit. And if we could have some help with the baskets and the wagon, that would be great. Thank you.
So, don't be like me. I have noticed a pattern that Joanne, having worked all day with hundreds of small children, while I have been home riding or visiting or having lunch with people, she is the one who comes home and makes a delicious meal. Don't be like me. I will hear her an hour after the meal. How did you like supper? Which I know means I have forgotten to say thank you. I have forgotten to say, supper was wonderful. Thank you, Joanne, for doing that, for thinking about it, for going to the store, for cooking it. And I just eat it and push back my plate and go back up to my office. So, don't be like me. Look always and be aware of generosity in your midst, and thank those who are responsible. If the day should come when you discover I am living by myself, that will be the reason why. So don't do what I do. Say, thank you. I appreciate your efforts. I love you. Say it together. Thank you. I appreciate your efforts. I love you. Very good. Turn and greet